It was on this date, April 27th, back in 2011, that violent tornadoes, some rated as high as EF4 and higher, struck the states of Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and Mississippi. Alabama was the hardest hit, with violent tornadoes touching down in several areas. The top two deadliest tornadoes in April since modern records began hit on that day. April 25th through April 28th was known as the Super Outbreak, and it was one of the worst tornado outbreaks in U.S. history. It claimed more than 250 lives in Alabama, injured almost 3,000, and was responsible for $4.2 billion in damages, making it one of the costliest tornado outbreaks in Alabama history. An incredible 349 tornadoes were spawned in the United States in just a little over 72 hours. And it was on the night of April 27th that an EF4 tornado claimed lives along an 80-mile path stretching from Greene County through Tuscaloosa and into the northern suburbs of Birmingham. Now, in all that day, 62 tornadoes were reported here in the state of Alabama, including here in East Alabama. Northern Calhoun County and parts of southern Etowah County were among the hardest hit in the state. Now, 5 years later, some survivors who are still rebuilding say their lives and their towns will never be the same. But for one man, Joey George of Webster's Chapel, he says no tornado warning or emergency plan could have prepared him for what happened. He says he and his wife have moved on, but they face constant reminders of where they live and what it used to be like. He lost his general store in the storm, and he and his wife almost lost their lives.
Right before dark that evening, and then old Ronnie Murray, deputy sheriff, he pulls in real quick in the parking lot, and he says, "Joey, y'all got to get out of here. It's on the ground heading this way." So then he took off. So I come out of the store and I look toward where my house used to be, and it was already there.
George says he and his wife hid behind the counter of their store and they held on to each other. They started praying, and it was then that the walls and the roof blew off. The couple were blown 133 feet away from their store.
As we're in it, I'm thinking, God, we can't get any higher. That's what's going through my mind. We travel through. I don't know how far out we went, but I know we was in the thing. And I don't know how high up we were. It's hard to judge when you're hanging on to each other. And then the second time I thought, God, we can't get any higher. And then the next thing, we made another round and the stuff flying by us, and something hit me in the head about that time. I thought, God, we can't get any higher. And we hit the ground then.
George's two dogs were killed in the storm, but he says it's a miracle that he and his wife survived. He says a state trooper carried them to the hospital to tend to scratches and bruises. George says the storm has left his community stronger, though, and it served as a rebirth for the entire community.
It's bad that it takes a adverse situation to bring people together, but it really brought this community together as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And just this is amazed by how the people come along that weren't affected, but yet they were, because they know somebody that is.
George says now new home construction is juxtaposed with grassy, windswept areas, and jagged tree trunks have replaced thick woods. He adds that some people are even doing better than before, but for him, it flipped a light switch, he says, and now he lives each day to the fullest.